A dying human soldier drank alien vampire blood. What he became shocked the universe. The battlefield was silent in the way that only death could make it. Sergeant Marcus Vane lay on the cracked obsidian surface of Kareth 7, a moon so far from Earth that even its star looked like nothing more than a cold, distant needle of light. His armor was shattered across his chest. 3 of his ribs had punctured inward. His oxygen recycler was failing, hissing out the last of its reserves in shallow, desperate gasps. Around him, the wreckage of humanity's 7th Orbital Strike Division smoldered in broken heaps of metal and bone. Before we dive deeper into this story, tell us in the comments where you are watching from. Marcus had been a soldier for 11 years. He had fought in the Outer Belt conflicts, survived the siege of Callisto Station, and once carried a wounded squad mate 17 kilometers through a methane storm on Titan. He was not the kind of man who accepted death easily. But lying there, staring up at the bruised purple sky of Kareth 7, with blood pooling warm and dark beneath his broken body, he understood that this was the end. His fingers curled weakly around the dirt. His vision was narrowing at the edges, the world folding inward like a closing book. Then he heard the sound. It was not human footsteps. It was something smoother, more deliberate, like silk being drawn across stone. And when the figure emerged from the shadows between 2 collapsed gunships, Marcus thought for a moment that he was already hallucinating from blood loss. The creature stood nearly 7 feet tall, draped in layered robes of deep violet and black that caught no light. Its skin was pale as ash, almost translucent, with faint silver veins visible beneath the surface. Its eyes were entirely silver, without pupils, without whites, gleaming like 2 polished coins in the dark. Its face was angular and sharp, elegant in a way that felt ancient, as though it had been carved by time itself rather than born. It crouched beside Marcus without a word, studying him with those unnerving silver eyes. Marcus tried to raise his sidearm. His arm moved perhaps 3 inches before collapsing back to the ground. He managed one word. "What?" "You are dying," the creature said. Its voice was low, layered somehow, as though 2 tones were speaking at once. "I have been watching this battle. Your kind fights with extraordinary ferocity for being so fragile." "Thanks," Marcus rasped. "That's not a compliment. It was not meant to be one. It was an observation." The creature tilted its head with an almost mechanical precision. "I am Salvara of the Vethkari. Your species calls mine many things. Vampires is the closest translation, though it is reductive and somewhat insulting." Marcus laughed, and the laugh turned into a cough that tasted like copper. "Sure. Vampire. And you're here because?" Salvara was quiet for a moment. Her silver eyes moved across his wounds with what appeared to be clinical assessment. "Because I have a proposal, Sergeant Marcus Vane. And because you have perhaps 4 minutes before your biology fails entirely." That got his attention. "The Vethkari have not interfered in galactic conflicts for 900 years, she said. "We observe. We record. We preserve knowledge. But what is happening on this moon, what your people have stumbled into by accident, is not merely a conflict. The Kreth Dominion is excavating something beneath this surface. Something that was sealed away before your son was born. If they succeed, there will be no galaxy left to fight over." Marcus stared at her. "And you need me because?" "Because you are already here. Because you are already dying. And because what I am offering will mean you will not stay that way." She reached slowly into the folds of her robe and produced a small crystalline vial filled with liquid so dark it seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "Vethkari blood. Given willingly. In exchange for your cooperation." The silence between them was enormous. "What will it do to me?" Marcus asked. His voice was barely above a whisper now. "Heal you. Alter you. The process is irreversible and the result will be something that has never existed before. Part human. Part Vethkari. You will not become what I am, Sergeant. You will become something else entirely. Something new." She paused. "You may refuse. I will not force this upon you. But the Kreth drill reaches the sealed chamber in less than 6 hours, and the only living soldier on this moon is you." Marcus thought about Earth. He thought about the blue curve of it seen from orbit, the impossible beauty of it, the billions of people on it who had no idea this moon existed, no idea what was being unearthed beneath its surface right now. He thought about his squad. About the 11 people who had died in the last 3 hours so that humanity could hold this position for reasons their commanders hadn't even fully explained to them. "Give it to me," he said. Salvara did not hesitate. She opened the vial and pressed it to his lips, and the liquid moved like something alive down his throat, cold as deep space and then immediately shockingly warm, spreading through his chest like a second heartbeat waking up alongside his first. The pain stopped. Not gradually. All at once. Like someone had simply switched it off. And then the change began. It was not violent. It was not grotesque. It was something far stranger than that. Marcus felt his perception expand outward in every direction, as though his mind had been a room with one small window and someone had just removed all the walls. He could hear the Kreth soldiers moving underground, their heavy mechanical footsteps transmitted through the rock. He could see in spectrums he had no names for, the heat signatures of bodies, the electromagnetic bleed of their equipment, the subtle gravitational distortion of the excavation beam they were using. He stood up. His shattered armor felt like nothing on his body. He looked at his hands. They were still his hands. Still calloused, still scarred. But there was something beneath the skin now, something that hummed very quietly, like a tuning fork struck at a frequency just below hearing. Salvara watched him with an expression he couldn't fully read. "How do you feel?" "Like I understand things I shouldn't," he said. "Like the universe got bigger and I got bigger with it." "Yes," she said softly. "That is accurate." What happened in the next 5 hours became, in later centuries, the subject of academic debate, galactic mythology, and 3 separate documentary series. Marcus Vane descended into the excavation network beneath Kareth 7 alone. Not recklessly. Intelligently. The new architecture of his mind processed tactical information at a speed no unaltered human could match, but it was still a human mind doing the processing, still driven by human instinct, human stubbornness, human refusal to accept a reality where the people he loved ceased to exist. He moved through the tunnels like a ghost, dismantling Kreth automated defense systems with methods that fused Vethkari energetic understanding with human mechanical ingenuity in ways that neither species had ever conceived of separately. The Kreth soldiers who encountered him reported something they could not categorize. Not the pale, elegant terror of the Vethkari. Not the brutal, desperate aggression of the human soldiers they had crushed on the surface. Something in between and beyond both. Something that looked at their weapons with patient curiosity before rendering them useless. Something that spoke to their commander in flawless Kreth dialect and said very calmly, "You will stop the drill. You will seal this excavation. And you will leave this moon. I will not ask again." The commander, a veteran of 40 campaigns, looked into Marcus Vane's eyes, which had shifted to a deep silver gold during the transformation, and felt something he had not felt in decades. He felt afraid. The drill stopped. The sealed chamber remained sealed. When Marcus emerged back onto the surface, Salvara was exactly where he had left her. She looked at him for a long moment without speaking. Then she said, "The Galactic Observation Council will want to know what you are." "Tell them I'm human," Marcus said. "You are more than that now." "No." He looked up at the sky, at the distant cold light of a sun that was not his own. "Being human is not a limitation. It never was. It's a starting point." He paused. "We just needed the right catalyst." Salvara was quiet for a moment. Then, for the first time, something moved across her ancient face that looked very much like wonder. 900 years, she said quietly. "I have watched 1,000 species rise and fall. I have never offered this gift before." "Why me?" "Because in 4 minutes of dying you argued with me, made a tactical assessment, asked the right questions and chose the harder option." She tilted her head. "Most beings faced with death choose comfort. You chose purpose." Marcus said nothing. He looked out across the ruined battlefield at the wreckage of his squad's last stand, and he made a quiet, private promise to every name he had memorized over 11 years of service. This was not the end of humanity's story. It was a new chapter. And the universe, vast and ancient and indifferent as it had always been, had just learned something it had not expected to learn. That the small, fragile, temporary creatures from the third planet of an unremarkable star were not finished yet. That when you pushed them to the very edge of extinction, when you took everything from them and left one of them broken and bleeding on a dead moon, what came back was not defeat. What came back was something the galaxy had no category for yet. What came back was the beginning of something new.